I never wanted gratitude. I never wanted praise. All I wanted was family. For as long as I could remember, my life revolved around my younger brother, Arjun, from the day our parents died in that car accident. When I was only 23 and he was just 11, I stopped being a sister and became something else entirely. A guardian, a provider, a substitute parent. People used to say, "You sacrificed your youth for him." But I never saw it that way. To me, Arjun was not a responsibility. He was my purpose. I worked 2 jobs while finishing my degree. I skipped vacations, birthdays, friendships, relationships. Every decision I made started with the same question: how will this affect Arjun? When he wanted a better school, I found a way. When he dreamed of becoming an engineer, I paid the fees. When he failed a semester, I encouraged him instead of scolding him. When he cried at night missing our parents, I stayed awake holding him until morning. I told myself this was what love looked like. Years passed. Arjun grew taller, stronger, more confident. And I slowly disappeared. When Arjun got his first job, I felt proud. Not just proud, relieved. I thought, finally, he'll stand on his own. Finally, I can breathe. But life doesn't always follow hope. His job didn't pay much, so I helped him again. Then came his MBA dream, I helped. Then came his startup idea, I invested. Then came his wedding, I paid. I bought the house he lived in. I co-signed his car loan. I paid his children's school admission fees before they were even born. People praised me. Such a selfless sister, such a strong woman. But no one asked how tired I was. The first time I felt something was wrong was small, almost invisible. At a family dinner, someone joked, "Arjun is lucky. Not everyone gets a sister who funds their life." Everyone laughed. Arjun laughed too. He didn't correct them. He didn't say, "She's not my bank." He didn't say, "She's my family." I told myself I was overthinking. That was my biggest mistake. The real moment came on an ordinary evening. I had gone to Arjun's house unannounced, something I rarely did because I didn't want to disturb him. I still had keys. I still believed that place was partially my home. As I stepped inside, I heard voices from the living room. Arjun, his wife, Meera, and his business partner. I wasn't trying to listen. But then I heard my name. "She means well," Arjun said casually, but honestly. "My sister is becoming a burden." A burden. The word landed inside me like a bullet. Meera laughed softly. "You're too soft. If she wasn't useful, she wouldn't even matter anymore." Useful. The partner added, "At least she's good for funding. Just don't let her interfere too much." They all laughed. I stood frozen behind the wall, my keys slipping from my hand. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't confront them. I quietly turned around and walked out. I drove home without remembering the road. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, the same apartment I had lived in for 15 years because I never upgraded, never splurged, never prioritized myself. I opened my laptop, and for the first time in years, I did the math. Education fees, business investments, loans, rent support, medical bills, wedding expenses. The number stared back at me. $97,000. $97,000. Almost $100,000 spent not on luxury, not on pleasure, but on someone who saw me as a burden. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because something inside me finally broke. I cried that night. Not loud, not dramatic. Quiet tears, heavy tears. I cried for the girl I used to be. I cried for the woman I never allowed myself to become. I cried for confusing sacrifice with love. And when the sun rose the next morning, I made a decision. I would not scream. I would not beg. I would not explain. I would simply stop. The first thing I did was visit the bank. The manager recognized me immediately. "You're Arjun's sister, right?" You handle most of his accounts. Most, not some. Most. I need to cancel all automatic transfers, I said calmly. He looked surprised. All of them. Yes, all. He hesitated. Are you sure? Your brother. My brother is an adult, I replied. And I am done parenting. Next, I called my lawyer. I hadn't spoken to him since handling my parents' estate years ago. I need to protect myself, I told him, from my own family. He didn't sound shocked. He said something that changed everything. You're not the first woman who's come to me with this story. Over the next week, I quietly removed myself as co-signer, transferred ownership of assets legally mine, updated my will, changed passwords, changed locks. I didn't announce anything. I just disappeared. The calls started on day 3. First Arjun. I didn't answer. Then Veera. I didn't answer. Then messages. Did something happen? Why are the transfers failing? There's a mistake at the bank. A mistake. I smiled. On day 6, Arjun came to my apartment. He looked irritated, not worried. What's going on? He demanded. The rent bounced. I looked at him, really looked at him. The man I raised. The man who called me a burden. There's no mistake, I said calmly. I've stopped funding your life. His face changed. Shock, anger, fear. You can't do that, he said. We depend on you. Deep end. Not love. Not care. Deep end. Mira stepped forward. You're overreacting. You heard something out of context. I nodded. No, I heard the truth. Arjun scoffed. So what? After everything we've been through, you'll abandon us. I replied softly, I didn't abandon you. I just stopped being used. That's when the real war began. They accused me of being bitter, then lonely, then unstable. They threatened legal action. They suggested therapy. They implied mental decline. Classic. When manipulation fails, character assassination begins. But this time, I was ready. 2 weeks later, I received a court notice. Arjun was attempting to claim that I was mentally unfit to manage my finances. My own brother, the child I raised. I sat with the letter in my hands and felt nothing. No anger, just clarity. The court day arrived. Arjun avoided my eyes. Mira cried theatrically. They painted me as controlling, paranoid, unstable. Then my lawyer stood up, and the truth unfolded. Bank statements, transfer records, medical evaluations, witnesses. The judge listened quietly. Then he asked one simple question. Why did you fund your brother's life for so long? I answered honestly, because I thought love meant sacrifice. He nodded. And why did you stop? Because I learned love should never cost your dignity. The ruling was swift. Case dismissed. Not only that, the judge warned Arjun about financial exploitation. I walked out of that courtroom lighter than I had felt in decades. Months passed. My life changed. I traveled. I rested. I laughed again. I made friends who knew me, not as a resource. One evening, my phone rang. Arjun. I answered. His voice was quiet, broken. I was wrong, he said. I didn't realize what I lost. I closed my eyes. I know, I replied. That's why I had to leave. Some people ask if I regret it. No, because losing people who only value what you give is not loss. It is freedom.